Welcome back to another episode of Muse where we talk about anything creative. We have your hosts, Ezra.
And Nasim. And today we have...
Blaze. Hello all, my name is Blaze.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you here, bro.
Thank you, bros. I'm glad for you guys to have me too.
So we go way back. This is like a childhood friend for me. Yeah. I want him on for a minute. He'd be busy, but I'm glad to have him on today.
Of course.
And I wouldn't say he's a childhood friend, but he's definitely someone I hold dear in my heart.
Love both
and I
of you
think
guys.
about a lot. I think about this guy often.
So what we talk about today?
So today we're going to be talking about, we're in New York right now. That's where the podcast is based, if you guys didn't know. And, as an artist moving into a big city or just any city, how does an artist dive deep into exploring all creative, clubs, organizations, is get into that creative zone where they feel as though they're part of a community,
right.
Yeah, build those connections.
So I would say, first off, if you're a creative and you're moving to another city, I would say you want to already be prepared of what you want to, what you want to do or how you're going to execute about getting your work known out there. So I would say when you first start off, no one is going to know who you are. No one's going to know your work. So you really want to just be consistent. Post your work on different platforms, buildings, even outside, put it on Instagram, put little Post-it notes on stores, scaffolding walls, anywhere. Even when Ezra started off with Berserk, he started he would tag his, logo on the train station.
Right, everywhere. We was getting down and dirty.
Yeah, bro. Literally everywhere. I was like, bro, chill.
But don't tag in front of the police.
Definitely.
That is illegal.
That.
Yeah.
That's
illegal. So,
that is illegal.
That is illegal. But basically, just using different platforms to promote your work. And another point is that I always want to stress this is stay consistent. When you first start off, just like Ezra did, even Azim with your pictures, Ezra with your art, when you post day by day, you don't really see the followers that you want to. You don't get the likes or the attention that you want to get. But don't get discouraged. As you just stay consistent, people will notice your work. Even with you, Ezra, I noticed that, bro. When you first started to post your artwork, it wasn't really immediate attention. But as you stayed consistent,
that's the thing. It's consistent is key because regardless of who's supporting, who's trying to really tap into what you're doing at the moment, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be a record. And people love to see people's growth and come up of where they started.
Exactly. Definitely agree.
For sure. And I mean, also what he was talking about, don't get discouraged with follow count and things like that.
Yeah.
One thing I know is I have this little story with you because soon we knew we were going to do this podcast, I just thought about Blaze, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And
that.
Me personally, I feel that when you're tapping into any type of artistic community, be a fan first.
Of course.
Be a fan first. I saw you when we was in New York. We walked past this guy. He had 25,000. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
But that's not huge. That's still pretty indie, And he was a fan. He came up to the person. He's like, bro, I love your work. He was a fashion designer.
Wow.
He was like, this and the third. And they really connected. And that's when he provided the different things that he was doing, stuff like that. So I think if you be a fan first, it provides opportunity to just whatever you want to do, and also being open to other things and learning other things too.
Of course, and exactly like that. Even when you're a creative, how most creatives, they are sometimes, real proud of their work, and sometimes that reflects on them as a person.
Or they're extra shy, extra humble.
Yes, it can be either both. They're just extra, shy, or just they're really proud about their work, and sometimes people as a creative, sometimes you're afraid to be a fan of somebody else's work, but I just like Nazim said and Ezra said, sometimes you have to appreciate someone else's work to really connect, and then it will benefit you.
Yeah,
that's that.
Yeah,
I mean, I know for one, I work at Trader Joe's at the moment, and I feel like I work with other creatives. I work with other creatives, and then I have a buddy named Clemente. He's probably gonna be on in a future episode, but every time I'm on register, he's always like, hey, what's your name? Da da. I'm a film director.
Wow, to different people.
Yeah,
wow,
and he was like, oh, what do you do? Da da da. And then he starts making connections and instantly, no matter who it is, instantly trying to learn more about people. Because that's one thing. If you want to grow and you want to build, you have to actually be interested in your surroundings. Because I would say that I'm pretty shy.
Yes, that's another thing. Thank you, bro, for actually striking that point. Stay sharpen your social skills. Even if you're shy, because like Ezra said, a lot of creatives are shy. Don't be afraid. You just you gotta really force open your social side and just socialize with your surroundings, because you never know. If I didn't know Nazim right now, we're in the street. Let's say if I was an artist, Nazim could have an old art gallery. How would you know? Because you never talked to him. You could run a whole art gallery. You could run one too, bro. You never know who is doing what or who's who. that's why you gotta socialize. Like, just always network with people, because
Yeah.
it's if you're afraid to hold back, or if you're afraid to, get to know that person, you could be missing out on like opportunities. So definitely network, just like the bro said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And definitely explore what type of community you really feel, valued in.
Yeah,
Especially
definitely.
as you're being a fan to a lot of different creators and stuff like that, as well as they're also giving back that same input in your own work.
Yeah.
Going to a community like, for example, I know Ezra's in the art collective. He's
Yep.
giving all of his work out there to the world, and they're also giving him their ideas or just thoughts on his stuff as well. So when
Exactly.
you're being a fan, it makes people want to support you more. Like, you shouldn't be afraid to support. It's not, you don't never gotta be too cool to support somebody.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
'cause
agree.
I'll give you
Yeah.
actually a funny fact about how I got into collective. So initially, Blaze is friends with Jane, which
Yep.
is I'm a
College.
friend of now.
Shout out Jane.
And basically, he posted some of her work on his Instagram. I was like, "Oh, cool! Check it out." Da da da. Checked out her work.
Right.
I follow her. Actually, some of the first things was I was chatting about her work, and we also mentioned a collab, and which we didn't get to do a collab until like I would say maybe like
2020, maybe late
2022.
Yo, 2020. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was
'cause
this summer.
The
Last summer.
collab right there,
Right.
But but like we So basically, she was like, they had a call for a collective, and it's like, oh, are you interested in joining? I know you're an artist. I like your work. Do you want to join the collective? And that's when I met Jane, and then I met Gio. She introduced me to Gio, and from Gio, and then I showed her my work, and then had a little interview, and 27 Collective is still growing. So I feel like that's another thing, is that sometimes you end up in places just from being a fan and just having sheer admiration for a person's work, and you're like, yo, that's dope, and you want to chop it up with them, and you never know what comes next from there, because it's all about learning.
I agree.
100%. And also, when diving into communities as well, as you, like, for example, going to like the art store and things like that. For example, like, I did music for a while where I was in the music, Baltimore scene.
Yeah.
And going there, you're going to local shows and things like that. Like I said, you're being a fan, you're learning about all these different artists, and you're really like diving in and like giving them real feedback about what their music is and how it affect you. They got a lot of creative thoughts and being a part of that,
And I also agree, just like with the main topic of being a fan, because it's like when you just change your mindset that you really just you're really like a fan of someone else's work, or you really appreciate someone else's work, it changes up like the whole vibe and just your whole aura of that person. Like, rather than just meeting somebody, you instantly want to compete with them, which is what we get a lot in New York City. Like, there's a lot of creatives, a lot of artists around, so everyone wants to compete. It's like a ladder of competition to see who could get to, like, their goals or whatever. But when you really just pause from that and just appreciate everyone's work, it really makes things so much different in like a real positive way. You can make so many connections just from that alone.
But don't be an opportunist whore.
Like, yeah.
Sure.
I just care about that word. I like it.
Sure.
Right. Don't be an opportunist
word.
word. But like, I feel like you have to really truly enjoy what people are doing, because I know for one, like, I'm not gonna show fake interest because
you
I might
see
get
that person.
somewhere.
Yeah, you can use that person to get. Yeah.
So I feel like you should also like want to
genuinely, sincerely appreciate that work.
Make relationships.
100%. Because if you're just an opportunist whore, as well as going to come off less genuine. Like we talked about in previous episodes, art and any type of creativity is about what do you connect with. Me personally, I connect spiritually. So if I know I align myself with this work, then I know I'm going to pursue it, and it's going to come off honest and genuine, and as well as I can really pull and learn something from it.
Yeah. Like, I would say, go in the mirror and practice your elevator pitch. Now, I know y'all. I don't know y'all do this. I know y'all don't do this.
I really don't, bro.
What would you be your elevator pitch if you go like you're meeting someone and they want to know what you do? What do you say?
Oh, well, basically, I've been doing photography for 2 years, very, very, deeply, and I really want to get into studio photography and build my work up. But I have this great, robust portfolio of street photography that I'm super proud of, and I would love for you to get to see it.
Yeah, I like that.
So I've been designing sunglasses, for about 3 years now, but I've never really taken it seriously. So I would love to, just get some advice, or if you can help me with any just gems you can drop for me to perfect my craft, I'll really appreciate it and take it with me for the long run.
See, I like that.
That's vibes.
Like, I feel
really
like
love that.
when you when you said that, I was drawn in.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's one thing that's important about every pitch is that you're saying what you're about, but I feel like it's always good to be like to include the person in, like, hey, I want to be able to do something with you, work with you on something, or I would definitely love for you to check it out, or come by the studio, show you some. So it's like I feel like you really have to be always inclusive and always sharing, because people love to learn.
We're not gonna let you get away with that. What's your elevator pitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need the main man.
Yeah, watch. I'm the worst. Like,
we're not gonna let you get away with this, man.
Yeah.
But I'll be like, hey, I'm Ezra. I'm a fine artist. I'm an illustrator. I'm a muralist.
You're a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm a lot of things. I'm a stripper.
Uchiha Clan.
Nah.
I'm an Uchiha Clan member. Nah, man.
No, I'll be like, I'm part of a collective agency, and I also have Muse Hall, where we like to collab with different artists and bring artists in to do podcasts, to do. So it's like,
bring
them into things.
Yeah.
It's like I would definitely love to see what you do, and we can chop it up and make matters collide. But that's another thing, depending on who it is. So I feel like when you're just meeting someone new, like you can hit with a quick like, boom, this is what I do, this is my name.
Yeah.
I would definitely love for you to check it out. Like that's the good one.
Straight to the point.
Fire.
Say Tyler Creator, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to be actually kind of super confident. Like we talked about confidence in the episode.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that fake
true.
confidence is like you gotta walk to someone like, hey, how you doing? I'm Ezra Cumbo. My work is dope. I feel like you're really appreciating it. I feel like we can really make something together that's dope.
Yeah.
Check it out, please. You know what I'm
and
saying?
like all those different energies have their purpose.
Right.
Coming off a little bit more humble, coming off a little bit more, subtle, as well as coming off very strong, you know? Both those have their purpose when it comes to meeting different artists in different communities. Because sometimes communities aren't even on that level where you got to bring that, prima donna type mentality.
Yeah, of course.
One thing I want to say is like, don't be afraid to start small. We got small little meet and greet art communities, little sipping paints.
Paints. Yeah.
Like you can start small and build up and build up and build up and build up to whatever a huge art community looks like to you. So never be too cocky to start small.
Of course.
And always ask questions.
That's what I'm saying. Always.
That's like, all right, I'll give you an example. Like, for instance, I've been drawing for a good amount, so I'm pretty confident in my drawing abilities, but that doesn't mean I don't ask questions.
Of course.
When I meet someone, like a teacher or someone new, I always ask, like, oh, hey, I want to work on this, how can you help? Like, what's your tips on working on this? And from there, you never know, if you meet bigger communities of artists we can always learn from. Don't just think because you went over a hump that everything's good now. It's not as straightforward. It's like, it's a roller coaster.
And I just
journey.
Just like what you said, bro. Like even like, for example, like there could be an artist just like you, bro, who makes a whole bunch of work, but they can see a whole other artist who they appreciate. Just like Nazim said, like, just like not being afraid to like appreciate someone else's work. If you hold back that you truly appreciate that person's work, you never know. If you would have admitted it, that person would have helped you and be like, oh wow, like, thank you for complimenting my work. I see you do work now. Let's collab. But because you were so, arrogant or cocky and you didn't want to admit that you truly appreciated that person being a fan, like we talked about, then you missed that whole opportunity. So just always, never just hold that cocky side. Never hold that cocky side. Just never be a fan. Like, always be a fan. Never hold that cocky side. Just
always be a fan. Never be a fan.
But at the end of the day, we understand, like, with artists, like, you're nothing without support. Like,
of course,
if you're trying to like have a big name or whatever, you're nothing without support. You can't just support yourself.
Great.
We need to find ways to gain that support of the public or whoever. So when you're joining art communities and stuff like that, don't be afraid to support. If someday your art is going to need that same support.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm talking about: genuine support, as well as diving into communities, finding who values you the way you want to be valued, to continue building yourself and building your own work and the confidence in your work. And you can get a lot of that from support, from community, and then as well as push their support, pushing you forward with all things you got to do.
Yep.
And that's another thing. Like, one thing I want to get into next is build your character. You have to be able to be approachable as well, because part of it, of course, is talking to people, introducing yourself to people, but another part is that people are going to come to you too. And you have to be able to carry yourself in a sense of being ready for someone to approach you or want to approach you. Like, I know there's a lot of people that are very turn-offish. Whereas, like, you don't really want to talk to them. They don't carry themselves in a certain way that you're interested in. What do you think are some things that you do that you feel like carry yourself as a person that is approachable.
Okay.
Smiling.
Yeah, right.
People underrate smiling. This guy right here don't even like to show his teeth, even though he's cute. He's smiling like, no, I'm joshing. But, yo, smiling for sure it's actually studies that show that smiling makes you, like, so much more approachable.
Of course.
You know, and sociable. As well, it makes you happier to do, you know, and confident. So, I think smiling makes you more easygoing to talk to, and people don't really like too much pressure, especially when meeting new people.
Yeah, I would say, tagging on to what Nazim said with smiling, that is, like, one of, like, the most golden type of rules you get when meeting somebody to leave a good impression, or just, you know, just to show that you're, like, you know, a serious, creative individual. Also, eye contact. Like, eye contact is definitely key because it shows that person who you're meeting or talking with that, like, you know, you're serious. Like, you're listening to what they're saying, you know, like, you're taking in their work well. Like, you know, you ever speak to someone and your eyes may be somewhere else, just like, you know, to the ground or to the side, and they're looking directly at you, but you're looking at the ground. They're like, okay, I'm giving this kid some gems, but he's, like, looking around. I don't know if he's rushing to go somewhere, but I'm just going to leave.
Yes.
Then locking on eye contact shows, you know, you're taking in that person's words. Like, you're appreciating their time. You're valuing their time. So
I will also say,
contact too.
not always business. Like, don't always keep it business. Be really interested. If someone comes up to you and is like, oh, I really like your work, that you have a little art conversation, be also open to be able to talk to them just about, like, things that they're regularly interested in. So, for instance, you were to ask me, like actually, we'll do a little scenario. Like say you come over here to talk to me about this painting.
Bro, I love these paintings. Sheesh. How did you get into this?
Honestly, I started painting probably 2 years ago. When I went to Pratt, I was learning more about oil painting. So, and then, but from there though, I would like to also go from the painting to also direct, like, oh, are you a painter? Are you an artist as well?
Wow, yeah, I actually have an art gallery. You know, I've been doing paintings for a lot of years, and I like your work. Maybe we can definitely connect. I would like to see what you can do.
For sure. Like, what's your name?
Definitely. My name is Blaze. What's your name?
Ezra, you're cute.
No,
Another thing I read in a book, you know, also calling people by their name.
Yes.
You know, I like how you asked what name, but also not saying, you know, just like not calling them bro all the time. Like, oh, this is Blaze. This is Ezra. You know what I mean? So like calling people by their name makes them feel more personalized, and it's more like more of an intimate, growing relationship.
I agree.
That's fucking nice.
So what is our community, y'all? Like, what is like an ideal art community for both of y'all?
So, okay, I would say an ideal art community for me is basically an environment where, like, all of my friends who are creatives are just supportive. Like, we're all not afraid to, you know, take advice from each other. We're always building each other up instead of just competition. So we're all trying to lift each other. We're all taking in advice from each other just to make our own work better. Supporting each other and lifting each other. No competition. That's my ideal of a good environment.
I love that.
Good creative environment.
I love that. I love that.
That's fire.
Thank you, bro.
For me, I feel like a great environment is an environment that loves to teach and share. Like, I know for, like, since I've been in the collective, or since we started building up Muse Hall, everyone I talk to, I like to give them a bit of knowledge and like to get a little bit of knowledge as well. So I feel like helping people grow is a big component, because that person, you know, you never know how many hard times, like how hard things are for them right now, especially as a new artist. Everyone's been there. I know there's been times where I'm struggling with things and there are questions I didn't even know to ask. Like there's a lot of times where I'm struggling with something and I didn't know it was something that I can even ask. It's just like, oh, this is just something that just happens. But someone could come across with a little bit of knowledge, and that knowledge can help me grow in unexpected ways. So always be open to share your knowledge.
That's beautiful.
Wow. Yep.
That's beautiful. Me personally, I would give a major, huge shout out to a creator we both know, John Tyler. I think John Tyler really played a major role in the Baltimore, music art scene.
Yeah.
And, he had made an ideal example for what an art community should look like when it comes to providing opportunities for local artists from all different ages, wealth statuses to be able to perform and have opportunity to share their music. As well, he did this one thing where he was just giving out free beats and stuff like that. And people just come, collab, talk. And I think that he plays a major role in, providing an opportunity for artists to connect, talk, grow, share, just like all you guys had. And really, it's not a competitive state. I mean, space is all about just the individual growth, uplifting. And I really love that. Yeah, he has this thing called Love Groove Festival, and it's definitely amazing to watch.
Yeah, because I feel like
Love Groove. You should come to Baltimore to visit.
Yeah, we're pulling up.
But I feel like it's definitely the amazing part of that when he first started. It's not like hundreds of people or thousands of people are showing up like now. At first, it started off with just like a few people commenting, a few people wanted to make beats with him, and that's why it's like you never stop.
Right. Yeah. Which is just what I said. Be consistent. Always stay consistent.
And don't be worried about the numbers. You know, be okay to start small. If you got 3 genuine people who support you, who you can also support as well, that's beautiful.
That's all you need.
You know, if that 3 turns to 5, that's great. Perfect. If that 5 turns to 10, that's phenomenal. If that 10 turns to 20, that is blessed.
That 20, we're not gonna go through it. 20 turns to $1 million.
20 to $1 million. Right. Million to $1 billion. Nah.
So let's just be grateful for the support that we do get and that community that we do have.
Of course. Yes.
You know, because you'd rather have a very strong, tight knit community that actually gives. I'm gonna say that all over again. You ever have a very strong, tight knit community that really cares about you, than a huge community that's all in for themselves. You know, we want a community that's down to share, grow, and inspire one another.
I agree.
I love that.
I agree about that. Took the words right out of my mouth. I was literally gonna say that. I'm like, you might as well just have, like, a small frame, a small supporting frame, rather than just a huge weak frame that's not gonna support you at all.
Facts.
It's just there, just
to build a house.
Yes, the foundation's everything.
Also, another thing, bros, that Nazim, you brought up the point too, when like you're on social media, because a lot like nowadays, a lot of like creatives is on Instagram, like specifically that platform, and you're posting your work. Just going back to what you said about John Tyler, when he first started off, he didn't have like thousands of followers that he had, but he always stayed consistent. But Instagram, I feel like when people post their art on Instagram, they tend to look at the numbers, or they really usually get discouraged or happy based off of the numbers they get. Yeah. So obviously, don't even focus on that. If there was a way to just eliminate the likes and just have a photo and comments there, just focus on that. Because just stay consistent and just never give up. Don't let those numbers discourage you. Just stay consistent.
That's blessed. I mean, you gotta think about it. Some of the biggest creators still have reels that's not huge to them. You know? So their standard is way higher than we want to get to them. They want to get higher than that. You know, so we gotta be able to be grateful for the where we're at, because somebody beneath you that came get the views and the likes and the support that you're getting. So
want to get there.
Always use that as motivation, because somebody rather be in your seat.
Right.
You know, and you rather be in another person's seat. But if you keep on grinding and focusing on just your seat, like, all right, that one didn't do good, the next one will. Right. That one didn't do good, the next one will.
It's just like we said in the last podcast. It's just always be a better you. Like, you can't be out here comparing yourself to an artist that's been grinding for longer and try to compare your numbers.
Can't do that.
And also, like, I know, like, with a lot of things, this actually kind of leads back into the community things. Like, let your preparation meet opportunity. So I feel like there's a lot of times where you have to spend time preparing for that opportunity to come, because, like, say you're making a bunch of work, you build up hundreds of work, right, and all of them got, like, let's say like 20 likes, right, 10 likes, 5 likes here. You're like, there's someone else that's a little bit more too worried about numbers would probably gave up way sooner and only have 5 pieces. Say I went on, I got 100, 200 pieces. You never know when I meet that person. It's like, hey, y'all love your work. I want to put it on display. Right. Now you got 200 work. You know what I'm saying?
So you have a whole portfolio there because you never gave up.
Facts.
Like, wow, yeah.
The thing is, it's the question, what is the art about? Is the art just about financial, and social success? Or is the art really just about the art?
Right.
Is the art about the personal life that you live, that you want to express?
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, what is the art about?
Sorry to say, I feel like a lot of it nowadays, I feel like a lot of artists nowadays, compared to some, majority just want to do it for the financial gain and just the clout. There's only still a few amount that really just, like Ezra and like Nazim, who really wants to just make their art and show it to the world as a way of just like opening up a doorway to themselves, just expressing themselves to the world, do their art. It's like a small amount of artists like that.
Amazing. You guys think y'all hit all y'all points?
Yeah.
I think I did.
I feel like I have so much still to say, but like the conversation was so good. It's just like when you have one topic that you want to say, you have that one thought, and then it switches to a whole other thought that you have. Facts. Because the whole conversation is just like pinballing.
You can talk about we should set up the camera,
right?
Yeah,
and just have him talk.
Commercial break.
I love how he watches it. He looks at the camera. Well, we don't say the rest of y'all say for the next episode. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Muse. And be with us next week to find your muse.
All right. Love you guys.
Love you too.